this week, we were able to secure a nice giant stand-up style. That's where we were able to utilize the 48-inch full roller, extra heavy model Terez Blue Water. The reason we wanted that shorter rod is with the stand-up, you're putting less pressure on the angler and you get a little bit more of a mechanical advantage with leverage. Today we're going to switch things up. Max has a commercial permit and we're going to target one of these fish commercial style. To do that, we're going to be fighting these fish out of the gunnel using the 83XH full roller Terez Blue Water. Matched to that, we're going to be using a Tiagra 80 wide. Max can explain why we're going to use the Tiagra 80 wide over something smaller like a Talica.
The mono top shot takes up a lot of the line capacity, which is why I go with the 80 wide over the Talica. I spool my Tiagra 80 wides with 200-pound PowerPro Hollow-Ace and then a 200-pound mono top shot. I do about 500 or 600 yards of the PowerPro Hollow-Ace and 100 yards of the mono top shot. The mono top shot is a little less forgiving when fighting fish in their last 100 yards and also easier for the angler to grab to get leverage on a fish.
Sometimes it comes down to a gain of whatever you can pull with your hand and then compensate with the reel. The mono style drag coefficient on this reel also makes it a little more user-friendly for some of the higher end shock load and the quick recovery on the reel, but also without increasing the drag too much incrementally so that you put too much pressure on the fish and pull a hook.
From our 200-pound mono top shot, we're going to switch over to a 150-pound fluorocarbon leader. Between the two, we're going to put a heavy-duty Spro swivel, 300-pound class. Each connection is going to be secured with a crimp and chafe gear between them. The chafe gear is used to prevent chafing and crotch breaks under high pressure. We're using a 10-0 circle hook to hopefully catch the corner of the mouth. If you gut hook a fish, you have a high chance of chafing it off. Setting out the first bait, this will be the highest up in the water column. To hook the bait, we're going to place the hook just behind the head. You don't want to go too deep so it won't rip out when a fish eats it, but you also don't want the bait to rip off the hook when it's just swimming along. So to go, tuck behind the scales, go about 3/4 of an inch in and pop right out there. It's exactly how you want it, behind the head. After that, you want to clean the leader with an alcohol wipe. This gets all the residue off the fluorocarbon leader so it's as clear as possible. Once you have the leader on the wipe, just let it out, clean the length of the leader as it starts to swim out. Once the balloon is out as far as you want it, you want to put the drag just so it won't pull out with the bait on it, but when a fish takes it, it won't feel it that much, and most importantly, the reel won't backlash. Using this big of a bluefish, we're going to want the fish to run with it and get it down before we set the drag. Once the fish has taken the bait and you've given it some time to run, you want to slowly click up on the drag so that you don't rip the circle hook out of the fish and it sets in the corner of the mouth. Nice and easy, nice and easy, nice and easy. Perfect. I'm going to start the motors. I'm going to catch up to this fish, try to get some line back.
Bait started acting kind of weird, swimming back towards me on the boat, so I was mending the line to get it tight, kind of closer. Fish ate right at the boat. Took off like a detonation, completely vaporized this reel. Got to the end of the dump. Now the fish is way stretched out. We're just trying to make up the ground so that we can get up and down on it. Biggest thing right now is just guy on the reel, keeping the line tight, keeping a bend in the rod, communicating with the man on the wheel. Guy on the wheel is keeping an eye on that rod tip in the direction of the fish. And right now it's just a game of catching up on the line we lost and trying to get up and down on it. Notice with all the drag I have on this fish right now, there's absolutely zero roll on the rod tip. nice and straight. Fishing from the gunnel like this is why we've chosen to go with the 83 XH. The longer reach of this rod allows me to keep this fish off the boat, keep the line away from the gunnels. The reason we paired this setup with the Tiagra 80 wide is solely for the line capacity. As you could tell during that run, it literally dumped more than half that reel in seconds under a significant amount of drag. It's a real fish. But once you've taken that 100-yard top shot off on a dump, you need a lot of insurance, and that's what the Tiagra 80 gives you, a lot of insurance with that extra line capacity. Glass blanks have been a tradition and a standard in the industry, especially when it comes to big game fishing in the salt, because of their basic flexible and durable nature, but they also have power. What makes this rod such a secret weapon, what makes Terez Blue Water so effective, isn't just the fact that it has a UD forgiving glass blank, but on top of that it has the High Power X technology over its Spiral X. What High Power X gives you is a very fast recovery on the rod tip. Every one of these major swells that we're encountering here is putting an extreme amount of additional load on the rod tip. So that UD blank glass, that core, is taking that flex, and then it's recovering very quickly thanks to that High Power X technology.
When the fish first came up, we were able to get a harpoon stuck right through its gill plates. Good place to secure it. And then first a head gaff was put right behind its head to get the fish's head out of the water, which immobilized it. Then you got to get a tail gaff to get the tail out of the water to sneak a tail rope around it. Once a tail rope is around it, secure it to the midship cleat, and then the second one to secure it even more. Now we're going to start dragging the fish that is secured with 2 tail ropes. It's going to flare the fish up, and we're going to be able to rake the gills, which essentially bleeds the fish out. Having the fish upside down, water flowing backwards through it, it'll bleed the fish out to ensure the best quality of the fish.